Live because I want to show you something. I had to make all kinds of adjustments on this bad boy, and I'll show you why. All right, we don't want to over zoom. I fixed the right eyebrow and the right eye cut, and I'm going to show you what I did and how I did it to bring it in. Sorry, it's wobbling. I'm on the floor's a little rocky. So eye cuts can be really, really, really tough. I have to work today, so I'm going to see something. I might as well put you guys on here. Let's see if I can get this thing to fire up. Android, gotta let it open. So I'm going to show you something. And you guys are going to probably learn a lot from this because I learned a lot from this. If you're a sculptor, if you're not a sculptor, you don't even need to watch this video. But if you're a sculptor, all right, so first off, let me get this thing to fire up first so I can see your comments. Now, the reason why I actually have this thing nailed. I have an, oh, come on, what's going on? There it is. Hey, okay. Give me a sec. This way I can see the stream. Come on, YouTube. Internet's been really bad. Slow. Very slow. And again, this tablet is very slow anyway in itself. This thing is going to be amazing. This sculpture is absolutely going to be amazing. I'm going to show you what I've done. And some might call it a little bit of cheating, but you have to get perspective nailed. It's 12:37. Okay. Let's go to my page. Let's go to my live. There we go. Awesome. Now I just got to see the comments. Art Castler's, good afternoon, buddy. Hey, I had to make some adjustments, major adjustments on this. I want to show you something. All right. To give you an idea. Now, up on the wall behind here, right above his head, if you're looking right above his head, there's a picture against the wall there. You can't see it, it's not in frame, but right against the head, right against there. See that picture right there? My finger's right on it. You're seeing the bottom half of it. Well, that's the screen used mask. It's actually a mask that they made. It was in that book that I had. And I was struggling with the eye cuts because of the angles. And I fixed all kinds of angle issues here. DP24, yeah, this thing is looking really spot on. I've got the lips, I've got the chin perfect. I've got everything really on the money with this. The eye cuts are now nailed. I actually fixed this eyebrow to match the exact screen used mask. It looks more because it was down further over here. And I had it looking more like the original. Thanks, DP. So what I did was I took my caliper, right? That's a caliper. I measured the eye cut like this. All right. Okay. And I've got the exact size. And then what I did was I did some cutouts of the exact size eye cuts. All right. And this is the screen used mask. All right. Of the eye cuts. This is the right eye. This is this eye. And this is the other eye over on this side. All right. Now, I took the cutouts that were here. And this is the cutout. All right. And that cutout goes right in there like that. Now, here's where the issue is. When you're looking at these pictures, you're in 2 dimensions. All right. So you're looking at it dead on and you're getting it straight. You're getting a straight view of that. All right. So from a straight view, this eye cut looks perfect. It fits in there perfect. But what you can't see is around the bend. You can't tell how far back because you're in 2 dimensions. So some would say this is cheating, but it's not, because you're still trying to figure out. Now I've got the front view perfect. This eye cut fits right into that eye cut. I mean, absolutely stunningly right on the money. But if you turn it, you see how short it looks right here? I know that's not correct because, what's up, Slipknot? I know it's not correct because if you look at it from a side view, if I had stopped this short right here, this angle would be way off, all right, because it would look literally flat on the face. All right, so what we did was we used the front view, all right, pulled it in, made sure that the angles were correct, and then I brought them back to the right angle, all the way back. In other words, it's pitched back far. But yet when you look forward, even when I tuck it around and you're looking at it dead on, I'm sorry, it's tough to, when you're looking at it dead on, it still looks like it's perfect. It looks just like the picture's still in 2 dimension. And that's the problem with 2-dimensional pictures. You are looking at something directly on, but you can't tell how far the distance is from here to the back corner. And if you can't tell that distance, that's where the sculpting eye comes into play. Now I know that it can't follow suit, and the same thing goes for this. Let me show you. This is perfect. Now I didn't use these. I accidentally made these sculptures perfect. I don't know how, but I did. Anyway, but you can see, look how short that comes into play right here. You see. We're literally almost a half inch from the corner of the eye cut to where in 2-dimensional world, you've got this. So that is the issue. Look at that. Look at that gap in there. Get my finger out of the way. Can you see? I don't know. Can you guys see that? I'm looking at the screen here to see what you can see. All right, let me tilt it up a little bit. I'm telling you, Mike Harr's Corner. Yes, there's been a lot of work towards this, but it's because I'm a rookie. I haven't been doing this for very long. 4 years is not a long time sculpting, especially when I've never done human features, figures, or any of that stuff. So I had a lot to learn. So this, look at this eye cut straight on. I mean, it is on the money. All right, but you can't tell depth with a 2-dimensional picture. This is my whole point. Uh, yeah, they're eye templates, but they can't. I accidentally sculpted this one here. I sculpted perfect to the eye cut. This one here, I did use the template more, but this here by accident, I had it nailed. I had it right on the money. I mean, literally, this is an actual template from the screen used mask. Um, That's the eye cut. That's from the screen used. Come on. Why? Is this thing doing updates? All right. No, I've got connection problems. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the hell. All right, now I got to go back into my page again. It keeps bumping me out. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Go back to live. Thank you. My network keeps bouncing me out. All right, so, okay, I'm back. But here's the thing. As wise as as much as you think that you can't replicate, you can't use this exactly. You can use this template to get the general shape down, but you have to remember your depth is different because you're in 2 dimensions. Now you're at 1 dimension. Now 3-dimensional versus 1-dimensional. That's my point. So this is the eye cut. All right, now I dropped the other one. Where'd it go? Where did it go? So with the help of a caliper, no, maybe it's on the back side of this thing. No, doesn't matter because I don't need them now. Oh, what am I thinking? There it is right there. Duh, dummy. Okay, so that's the other eye cut. Looking straight on, now it looks identical to the screen used mask. All right, it literally is nailed. Hold on, I'm trying to get it so you can really see it. I'm bumping on my tools because I'm lifting this up. Hold on, let me move these tools. Another thing I did was I raised my tabletop here so I can. All right, let me try and get it so where you're looking at it dead on. Yes, it did nail it, but here's what, like I said, 2 dimensions. Now this pitch is perfect. This is the part I had to sculpt back to make sure that this pitch was right. But I also, when I cut in to go further back with that original sculpt, what happens is this looks bulged out further on this side, on both under and over. So you end up with this real elongated look on the eye cuts. They look very long because now this is like this thick. So what you have to do is sculpt it in. You have to sculpt that down and in. You got to take away in this area to bring it in so it looks perfectly at that. It looks perfect. It's really hard to explain, but that's the art of sculpting. It really is tough because you're dealing with a three-dimensional object. Now, I did a lot of work to this today because this eye cut was driving me batshit nuts. And I finally nailed and figured out what my issue was. When I turned it from the profile, when I was looking at it from this angle, from the profile angle, let me try to line this up now for you. And then I got to tilt it so it's facing your camera so you can see it. See, I got the camera really high. All right. Let me tilt it, and then I got to wait for the delay. I'm looking at my own video here. I'm tilting this up so you can see that the pitch is on the money. The nose was wrong on this. The angles were all off on this whole sculpture. And I wasn't about to, all this work going into this, and I overlooked it because I was pinpointing little problems, little tiny areas I'm looking at, and I'm not looking at the whole picture. And this is the lesson that I've learned because as being somebody that's only been sculpting for 4 years and never done human form. So I had to learn human anatomy, where the muscle structures were, where the, you know, how the brow, how the scowl sits, how deep are the eye cuts, how big, how, it's just all the little things that you learn. Muscle structure, jaw, the jaw alignment has to be right. The jaw's, square, and then it comes in here like this. There's all these little things I didn't know clue about. I didn't know nothing about it. So my first sculptures of the Michael Myers look like crap. I mean, God, I'm gonna someday when I get this done, I'm gonna show you where I came from to where I am now, and it's just amazingly so much. Now, going forward, I wanted to show you. I took a picture, and you definitely want to use profile shots. I took a picture of a mic or the flashback mask profile from the screenshot in the movie, and then I sized it to match the same size as my sculpture. Now here's the profile, and this is how close I am. Can you see that? Now I don't have this positioned perfectly, but it is almost perfect. Everything's in alignment. All the pitches are right. Now, when I say pitches and angles, I want to try and show you. First of all, the cheek line was too flat and too square, and it was out in front. So I wasn't getting this natural pitch. Here's a pitch, here's a pitch, and here's a pitch. Notice those pitches all match each other. Even the nose. The nose matches that angle, that angle, that angle. They all have to be at the right angle. All right. That's so important. Like when I put that right there with the nose, that's where that's supposed to be. The nose and this corner of the mouth are in line. All right. This falls in line with that angle. All those angles have to be right. And in order for that to be right, your chin can't be sticking out too far. It can't be sitting in too far. And same with the nose, same with the forehead. The pitch of the head has to be right. All these little things have to be dead on to replicate this Michael. I literally took a lot of clay off the front of this head. Just a few weeks ago, I posted in a thunder. If you look at my YouTube channel, the Thundering Lightning, that was a completely different sculpture. I completely changed everything on that sculpture because it was absolutely wrong. And what you saw on that was the angles were all wrong. Everything was wrong. Now this is leaning back because this is going to be laying flat. The pitch is already put into the neckline. So what I did was I had some clay and I built it up, and I literally had it sitting just like that. All right, and I had it build up, but I took all that clay away because now that I've got all the angles right and I fixed that issue, I can actually now start smoothing this out perfectly. And look at that angle. This is so perfect. Oh, and another thing, I measured from the tip of the nose to the corner of the eye cut, and they're perfectly the same distance from here to here. And that's what you do. You do with the caliper. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. All right, tip of the nose to the eye cut. Let me get it in there so you're seeing it in frame. I don't want to touch this because it can dent it. There you go. Tip of the nose right to the frame. All right, now watch. Oop, I don't have it in there right. There you go. Do the eye cut. Right on the money. It's the same exact distance. All this makes so much, it just makes a world of difference of getting this perfect. It is so difficult to do, and people are like, well, why are you sharing this information? You know what? Because nobody taught me. I had to learn everything the hard way, and I don't mind showing you guys. If you're sculptors out there and you will struggle with the same things. Now, I've found out over the last couple of weeks only, even Nag said that this is one of the hardest sculptures he's ever done. Now, Nag Mask, you guys know who Nag is, right? Nag, I can't remember the guy's name, but he said this was a very, very difficult sculpture to do. And I'm proud of myself because I did, it took me some battles, and oh my God, how many times have I thought I was done? How many times have I said it to you guys? Oh, yeah, this is finished. We're ready. We're ready. And there was something irking at me. Every time I feel like something's not quite right, I won't walk away. I will not walk away until I figure out what the problem is and why am I seeing this? Why is this not right? Something doesn't look right. And it always came down to the angle was wrong, angles weren't right, the shape of the lips weren't right, the jawline wasn't right. There was just so many different things. And I mean, I keep I kept pressing and pressing and pressing until I think I've got this thing perfect. Now it's a matter of smoothing, and I even have, oh my God, the lips. This was a nightmare, and I'll tell you what happened. The lips, I wasn't dug in deep enough, so now everything looked very flat, all right? And I had to cut this chin line back farther. If you look at the profile, all right, the chin line was out a little bit further than it was, like out to here, all right? I had to bring that chin line back because this is supposed to be rounded. The whole face is rounded like this. That is the proper uh, shape of the flashback mask. Now the flashback isn't like the original mask. It is not, and that's why it's difficult, because the original mask, it looks a lot like the original mask. It gives you all those scary features like the original mask, but it is different. It's different, and I'll tell you what I think, and I do really believe this. Christopher Nelson, hands down, is a genius when it comes to, he may not say that, he may disagree with this, but if you ever see this in Christopher Nelson, you see this is why I think you're genius, because you managed to nail all the best features, all the things that made Michael Myers look really creepy, all right? But yet you tied in your other masks to look a lot like this sculpture. In other words, the 2018 or the H40 mask, I swear all I have to do is age this, and this is going to look like the H40 mask. Now he may have used, I don't know what that was. Oh. He may have used a clay copy of the H40 and then doctored it up. I mean, and that's what I would have done, because man, sculpting that from scratch again is like drawing a perfect circle twice. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. And I don't care how great of a sculptor you are. I don't think it's possible to do the exact same thing twice. You can't, and that's why it's so difficult to replicate somebody else's work. It is so hard to replicate somebody else's work to perfection. It's never going to happen. Nag me, or I don't care if somebody's been doing it for 50 years. I just think it's like drawing a perfect circle. And I don't have the actual screen used mask, all right, in front of me to replicate it. Here's the other thought. I'm looking at these 3D printers because I think I want to get that for other projects, not so much for this kind of stuff, because I don't believe in cheating. I think, because I worked so hard at doing this, for me to use a 3D printer would be, what's the point? What's the point in sculpting? You're not buying somebody's art, you're buying somebody's copy of something. I don't know. I mean, it's there, you can, but bottom line is, I want to use 3D printers for other things. I got projects like I want to do, I'm not going to tell you what, but I'm doing bird feeders for somebody. And wait till you see what I got planned for that. You guys are going to go nuts for that. I mean, I don't know if you're into bird feeders. I'm not into bird houses, because bird houses, you never really draw any birds. You might get one or two birds, but bird feeders, cool. And I came up with some really cool ideas for the bird feeders. So I want to use a 3D printer for that. So I can, once I make the master molds, then I'm going to do 3D printing for specific tools that I want to use to make those bird feeders. Not so much to make the copy of the bird feeder because I won't need that because I'm going to sculpt what I'm going to do. And I'm going to silicone master copy. And silicone I can pour resin right into. So I don't need to replicate with a 3D printer, which takes hours. So that's another subject for another time. But anyway, what I wanted to let you guys know was I really think I've got this thing so close to the screen used mask. I really do. This is so awesome looking. Um, I'm happy. Now I just have to smooth. I had to make the nose was too small. This was way too small, too stubby. Wasn't deep enough in here. I didn't have it deep enough in here on both sides. It wasn't deep enough there. The pitch of the cheeks were way off. In other words, the very peak of this cheek line on both sides, all right, was sitting forward too far, all right, which made the face look flat. And that's, if you look at my version 1, the face looks pretty flat. Now, DP, you're still on there, right? DP, if you're still on there, you know, you have the mask. You bought the mask. You love the mask. I get it. But it's, believe me, it's not accurate. It's not accurate at all. And I'm bashing my own mask. I know I am, but I don't care because this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. This sculpture here is going to be, it's going to give you a replica of the original, of the flashback mask. It's going to give you a really nice copy. It's not going to be perfect. If I could do perfect, I'd be doing perfect circles every time I do something, you know, but that's not perfection. I'm going to get as close to perfect as possible. And as hard as I've been working at this and struggling with this, I'm there. We are there. Now it's just a matter of smoothing out and making this thing look stunning. You know, it's shiny. You see these shiny spots where I've been sculpting. I've been actually carving right here. I still got to smooth out, like in this area here. There's stuff. I got a lot of naphtha to do. Now, I don't normally do anything on Fridays. So I'm at the point now as I'm carving away and moving crumbs of clay. See that little tiny bit of clay that I took off of there? I do it with my little ball of clay. I always keep a ball of clay in my hands, and then I just press it to clean my tools. I just take it and I just press it into the ball. And because you don't want to, if you start carving away and you leave that on the blade, you end up with boogers all over the place. In other words, a little piece of clay gets stuck there, and then it gets mashed into the face, and then you got to sculpt away again. You know, just you're constantly working at it. But what I'm doing right now is taken away. Now I can see like this corner here. See how the undercut is tucked under a little bit too far? Well, I'm not going to add to the bottom because I know that the depth is right. This problem, this has to come back a little bit further. In other words, this here, this has to come back. Learn how to um, see the issue and figure it out I think it's the hardest part. Um, and then trying to figure out how do I fix it? How do I fix it? Oh my God, that's another problem. Yeah, see how much that brought that in now? Just that little bit, just taking that little bit off of there, off the top of this, and tucked it in a little bit more. It gives it that tucked in look. It's just you have to learn all these little techniques. It really does. Yeah. Well, I don't know anybody that ever has drawn a perfect circle. I really don't. Not unless you're using tools. Um, I've never met one person in my life, 62 years of my life, that ever drew a perfect circle. Um, Imagine doing 15 or 100 hole in ones if you're a golfer. I'm not a golfer. But if you're a golfer and you've had 100 or a thousand hole in ones. Well, that's what one perfect circle would be equivalent to, I think, if somebody drew a perfect circle, even if it was by freak accident. Um, a perfect circle is brutal. Anyway, so yeah, so don't be afraid to use, like, to get your perspectives all right. Your angles all have to be right. This is like, I mean, look at that, guys. I do have to add a little more chin to the bottom. Well, yeah, I have to do a little more chin work here. Add a little more chin to the bottom, but it's on the money. It's on the depth. It's on the right pitch. The nose is the right size. Um, but that's nothing. I just put a little more clay on the bottom of this thing and then round it out. That's nothing. That's even if I want to do it. I mean, bottom line is, I'm trying to make it an exact replica of the sculpture, but I do kind of want it to be my own. You know, I don't want it to be an exact replica because then that would be, might as well have the smell. That's the whole point, isn't it? Might as well have the screen used mask. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you guys want? We want something so close to the screen used mask. You're never going to get the screen used mask unless you know Christopher Nelson personally, like Sean Clark does. Sean Clark's got a copy of the screen, not the screen used mask. He's got a copy from the mold. Christopher Nelson gave him a mask from the mold, a flashback. Now, last time I saw it, as a matter of fact, here it is right here. Here's Sean Clark wearing his copy. It doesn't have any hair. It's just painted white. There's nothing painted on it yet. But this is Sean Clark with the mask on. And this is a flashback mask that Christopher Nelson gave him. It looks like shit on this picture, but that's because of the angle he took the picture, and can't use this picture for anything. So, anyway, he's got the hoodie over top because it has no hair. It's interesting because he got a copy of this, man. I know a lot of people out there would kill. Now, I'm not a collector, so I don't collect masks, but I know there's a lot of people would kill to get that mask. And he's got one. That's Sean Clark. But Sean Clark, you know, he's good friends with him, and they have a show together. And I'm sure he trusts Sean Clark would not send this to or sell it or whatever. You know, that's going to stay in his collection for the rest of his life. Okay, so let me read some comments here. Yeah, I can see that. Totally nailed it. Okay, let's back up. Well, I mean, okay, let me go back up. Let's say I'm not skull. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Horror counselors, good afternoon, man. And all right, and right after that, DP20. I'm not a sculptor, but I find your work entertainment, and like watching your videos. Too awesome work. Yeah, thank you for kind compliments, and I want you guys to keep watching. I'm not out to make money on YouTube, so that's not the important thing for me. I don't really care about YouTube money. This is about, I want to be a mask maker. I really love this. This is what I like to do. Okay, Mike's Horror Corner. Love to see such dedication to this project. So much work has been put in, and it shows. Keep up the great work, man. It's been fun to see all the progress. Videos. I know, and I feel bad because I keep thinking I'm done, and then I see something else wrong. And I'm sorry. I'm a perfectionist. I will not quit until I get this thing really on the money. Now, looking at this thing, I think I'm really, really there. I'm so close now. I don't think I can make an adjustment that's going to make a world of difference. All right. So, Slipknot, sup? Yeah, man. I'm up. I'm working. So those are eye templates. Yes, but you can use them as a two-dimensional. I explained that whole thing with the 2 dimensions versus 3 dimensions. You have to make sure your depth is. You have to figure out the depth yourself. That's the problem. You have to figure out the depth yourself. And how I do that simply is you put the eye template there, and wherever it shortfalls on the side, you just have to look at the angle. Does it look right? And now it looks perfect. That angle looks right. This is the pitch. I need that pitch to be right. Um, and then to get this pitch, because now I've cut further back, and if I left that thickness on this outside, this eye cut would look way too big this way. You see what I'm saying? You see my finger is my right, my index finger, my thumb, and then out here. But what I had to do is tuck that in. I carved away, and even in here until the angle was right. It stayed the same angle, but yet the width wasn't that long. So that's how you do it. Horror counselors, if 4 years isn't that long, then I have a lot to learn. Horror counselors, 4 years in this business is not a long time. There's guys that have been sculpting for 30, 40 years. 30 years. I'm going to say, I say a long time sculpting is at least 20 years. Then by then you probably learned all the little tricks and how to get the angles right. How to, you just learn all the things. I don't know how long it takes. It just depends on the person. 4 years for me is getting me about where I need to be to understand a lot more. I can't wait to start doing monster sculptures now that I have all these angle issues figured out. And me of all things, they claim that this is probably the hardest, and this is oh, Nag mask. I can't remember the guy's name. Come on, man, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Nag. But Nag, the sculptor that does Nag mask, he said this was the most difficult mask that he's ever done. Sculpture, because it's so difficult, and there's very limited pictures. All right, and I meant to mention the 3D printer. 3D printer or 3D scan and printing. The technology is it takes 1 million pictures from every angle, and then it prints out a perfect copy. Well, we have 2 dimensional pictures. We don't have an object. We have 2 dimensional pictures, and we're very limited to how many pictures we get. So we're trying to replicate something from 2 dimensional pictures, probably 20 pictures at the most that are any good for a sculptor to get information from. So we take those 20 pictures and we try to replicate what's there, and it's sometimes it is so hard. And the sculpture was definitely really brutal, but it's there. It's there. Everything looks really good, man. When this thing is leaning forward, well, you guys can kind of see how that looks now already. Man, that looks. Yeah, when I'm looking down on this thing now, it looks so. The perspective, everything looks right. Everything looks right. It's really good. I can't wait to see this with hair on it, paint job. Ooh, man, we got ourselves a piece of work here. I mean, look. All right, here you go. I tilt that forward now. See, because your camera is up higher, you can see how perfectly everything's set in the exact look. It's the depth is right, the cheek line, even the bumps in the under the lips. The lips are perfect. It's so on the money. Really on the money. Okay, hold on. I did 5 sculptures in a year, and I wonder why they never came out perfect. Horror counselors, well, 5 sculpts in a year. my advice is to stay with one sculpture until you really nail it, until you really feel like you really nailed it. And I mean, you want to check every little measurement, every little thing, get it to where it's perfect, and then you understand just how difficult it is to replicate anything. Anything you're replicating is tough. It could be any kind of. It could be the if I'm trying to replicate it to where it's perfect, it's almost identical to the original mask, no matter what it is. Um, it's a tough sculpt. It's a tough thing to do. It's really tough because we're so limited to how many pictures we have. Uh, let's see, Slipknot fan. That's pretty genius. No, that's not really genius. It's just that you struggle enough trying to figure out what's wrong, and then you go, okay, let me try and stencil out something. Let me try to get the eye cuts or whatever I'm doing. Let's try something. Let's try. You gotta dig into the okay. How else can I do something? How can I figure this out? It's more about figuring it out. What's wrong? It's always been about figuring out what's wrong for me because you may not see anything wrong, but in a three-dimensional world, when you're here in front of the project, I see problems. Not anymore. I've got this thing really so close now. I don't think I can do anything more to improve it. I really don't. Right now, you're talking about moving one crumb of clay from here to here. If I if that improves anything, right now it's all about smoothing it out. Um, you can barely see in this sculpture, and that's the way I want it, the glue lines for the sideburns, but they're there. I want them there, but it's main because when you get this mask, when I make the mask, I'm actually going to put glue over top of that line. All right. Same with this side. There's barely any there, but it's there. It's just giving me a guideline to where I put the glue. So I'm going to be with the new masks, and they're going to have glue. It's going to be done just the way the original mask was done. Um, yeah, yeah. Now it's all about smoothing out and getting this thing really on the money. Um, that's another thing I do is whenever I see something, I grab a tool and fix it because sometimes you'll overlook something. If you overlook it and then say, "Oh, I'll get it later," all of a sudden you forget about it, and there you go. Start of a problem down the road. And why I say start of a problem down the road is because if I had been paying more attention, and this is the problem, when I'm going live and I'm yapping with you guys and I'm answering questions and talking to you guys, I'm taking my eye off the ball, literally. And when I take my eye off the ball, that's why I've stepped away from sculpting live. I mean, outside of right now, all I have to do is smooth out. I don't have to really figure out anything. I'm not trying to figure out a problem right now because I have everything where I want. So, with that being said, uh, now I'm just smoothing out. Now I'm just smoothing out little bumps here and there. Okay. Five sculpts. You're right. I'll laugh at that too with you, horror counselors. You did five sculpts in a year. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's like Nick Molpagano. You guys know who that is, right? His 13 mask took him 10 months to sculpt, and he's been doing it for 30 years. He's been sculpting for 30 years. And we were talking, and he said, "Oh, well, this is what happened was my night creeper kind of looked a lot like what he was sculpting. Um, Actually, it was in the beginning stages, so we didn't know which way it was going. But I was aiming for the screen mask. The same mask that he was trying to replicate was the what was it called? It was the poster art, Halloween 4 or Halloween 5 or both of them. It was the poster art for both of those, and he was going to replicate that, and that's what the 13 mask is. It's a replication of the poster art of Halloween 4 and 5. Well, actually, that's what I was going to do. That's exactly what I was thinking about doing. My night creeper was supposed to look a lot like that. That's what I was aiming for, and his eye caught that. I never told him. I never told anybody. Um, but he caught it. He looked at. He said, "Man, that looks a lot like where you're. Are you headed?" And then he asked me. I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh man, hold off a little bit." I said, "I'm working on a. I got a 13 mask I'm putting out. That's actually about a month away from being finished." And he sent me pictures, personal pictures, as long as I didn't share them, which I didn't do. He sent me pictures of the 13, and I am just not a fan of trying to replicate anybody else's idea or anything. So he was already on it. I'm like, you know what? Okay, no problem. And the reason why I respect that is because he helped me a lot through all this journey of becoming a mask maker. I ordered all his videos. Oh yeah, he made money on it. I don't care about that. It was just the fact that he shared a lot of information. Whenever I asked him a question, he always answered me. Always replied to me, and I always got help from him. So I can't say anything negative about Nick Mulpagano. I can't. Just he's been there when I have some tough questions. I also like somebody that has a good keen eye as a collector. um, Pipe Master. I don't like giving out anybody's real name, so his name's Pipe Master on here if you ever see him. And I'm always on the phone with him constantly. Yo man, put your eyes on this. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. And sure, 9 times out of 10, he'll have it right. He'll figure it out. The only thing he can't see is 3 dimensions. Nobody can unless you're here. Um, there's no way to. It's one thing to say. It was like we found the problem with my sculpture, and he said it right from the get go. The slant of the head wasn't far enough back. And then once I realized, I saw a profile of the actual screen used mask in that book that I got. It looked round. The whole thing looked round. It revealed where my problem was. And he says, I tried to tell you. And I'm like, you know what? You were right. And I wasn't understanding what he was trying to point out. That sounds stupid, but we don't get good, even still shots from the movie. You can't get a good shot on and to show uh, the perspective. It's just you just don't get good perspective shots, um, and you need those. You need to be able to see all those angles and everything to really replicate. So anyway, so I reached out to Nick Mulpagano and I bought videos on how to do this stuff, and I did that 10 years ago, but I never started sculpting because I was too busy with my other business. So I eventually started doing it. When COVID hit, I started doing sculpting, and I loved it. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is great. And I used to whittle. I used to do things like that, but you make a mistake with wood, that's it. You got to start over again. So, but I never did like full human 3 dimensional things like this. Whittling, I did. I wouldn't say whittling. I actually did whittling as ducks and all that. I didn't really do any of that because that would be like this in wood. Difficult. What I did do is relief carving, which is a 3 dimensional, depth of a scenery into wood. And now lasers can do that, so you don't really need a sculptor to do something like that. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the rest of these comments. That's pretty genius. Okay, so you can see that totally nailed it. Wow, man, I got. There's a lot more. Okay, the chin needs to be more prominent. No, it can't. It doesn't go any further out. Now I'm going to show you. Who is it that said that? The chin needs to be more prominent. Slipknot. This is a profile view. This is a cutout from the actual screen used mask right here from a profile. And this is how it lines up. Now it's not perfect yet. I have to round the chin more, but the depth is right. You see what I'm saying? This is the profile. The depth is right. I have to add more chin to the bottom underneath the neck area. I have to add a little more there. That's it. So can't lie about that one. That one, not you. I mean, the picture doesn't lie. I mean, my profile is nailed. Let me do this on. Let me show you again. I had the camera or the. Now it's not dead on, but it's so close. I don't want to mess with it. No, I'm not a pioneer. Nick is the pioneer. Trust me with that, heart counselors. Uh, Patience. It's not because it's patience. Because yeah, I get frustrated, but it's because I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist by nature. I would not put anything out that um, that I'm not happy with. If I'm not happy with it, and if there's something nagging at me, and I can't figure it out, and that's when I get frustrated when I can't figure it out. Um, I won't stop until I nail it. I won't stop until I figure it out. I won't. I just won't. I mean, I just I don't want to keep wasting material too. Like the silicone costs like I mean it's every time I make a mold, it's a $500 to $600 investment, right? And that's just the silicone part. To make a resin mold, that's another $500. So to actually make a mold that'll produce masks out of resin is going to be $1,000 mold. You better get that sculpture perfect. All right. So Slipknot, I really don't. And I'll tell you, I'm not against games. I used to love. I was a big Tomb Raider back in the day when it was on PlayStation, the original PlayStation. I did Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 and loved it, man. Oh my God, I love that game. Um, the problem was Jimmy Falco has a nice one. Nico's, thank you for telling me Nag masks. They're both good. Jimmy Falco's is a nice mask too. It really is. I love his mask. I do. I love it. I know a couple people that don't, but I don't know if that's personal. Um, I just when I look at art, I don't criticize because of competition or I don't look at things like that. I really don't. If there's only three of us out there making this mask and it's fairly accurate, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? But I got to be honest. I look at that mask and I go, wow, man, he's got a nice mask too. But the flashback Nico's made, Nag mask, I actually repainted one of those. And if you look back on my videos, you'll see that I did a repaint for um, Pipe Master owned one of those masks, and he brought it, and we didn't rehair it, we just repainted it because it was weathered too heavily. There was nothing wrong with the paint job. It was just that he didn't want it weathered that heavily. So, and I was nervous because I don't consider myself the greatest painter in the world, but I used my technique on that mask and it turned out perfect for him. That's what he liked. Look like a crab. That's interesting. It's hard to make a perfect circle. Yes, we know. We agree with that. I can feel this way. Um, how about making some Nightmare on Elm Street stuff? Okay, well, here's the problem with Nightmare on Elm Street. One, I would never do the mask because it's not really a mask. It's his real face. Um, Nightmare on Elm Street. If I was going to do anything, it would be silicone. But I don't like doing silicone masks. I honestly don't have the experience to mess with silicone mask making. That is a really difficult thing to do. I think you have to have experience with that. You really do have to have a lot of experience with regular mask making and latex to start tackling mold making silicone molds. It is difficult. It's not easy to do. All right, so Freddy as a latex mask doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't. I don't like it. Maybe you can do prosthetics. You know, make prosthetics to paste onto somebody's face um, in silicone to make you look like Freddy. That would be pretty cool. I might be able to do something like that. But is making a mask not in latex? It's not meant to be a latex mask. It's Freddy is a real person with a real face. Now, uh, I'm not a real big fan of this movie, um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just think it was gory and sadistic. I'm not into sadistic stuff. Gory's okay, doesn't bother me one way or the other. But sadistic stuff, I'm not for it. I'm not into devil stuff either. I won't do anything in the devil realm. I'm not highly religious, but there's just some things I don't want to cross the line on, and I don't want to mess around with devils or witches or any of that. Well, witches kind of don't bother me, but I mean, anything devil, Satanism, and all that stuff. No, that's not for me. I don't want nothing to do with it. A Freddy glove. Somebody else. There's a guy out there that's making them. They're really, really, really accurate. Now, I'm not a welder, so and you got to be a good welder to do it because you're welding or you're welding copper because that's what he made it from was copper, the original glove. But there's a lot of artwork that goes into the painting of it too. It's not just the metal work that goes into it. Um, I think it's brazing. I forget what they call it. Because you got to combine the blades are made out of steel. His razor blades that are on his fingers, and it goes into a copper. So how do you weld those two together? I don't know. I'm not a welder, so making a Freddy glove is not an option. Um, a Freddy mask, I don't. The only one I would say suggest if you ever bought a Freddy mask, there's only two ways I would do that. One, silicone, which I'm not making silicone masks. Two, silicone prosthetics. In other words, I can make pieces of the face and make it look like Freddy. So when you put that on your face, you'll look more like Freddy. But you'll have to glue that to your face. You know, that's what a prosthetic is. Um, I could do something like that in silicone, but I don't see myself doing it. I really don't. Anyway, make a Freddy glove instead of a mask. Go for it. If you're a welder, though, horror counselor, you really need to know how to weld pretty good. You can't just be a novice welder because you're combining steel and copper. I don't know what kind of weld that is, but it needs to be pretty strong. Speaking of silicone, I saw a RoboCop head bust, which had Alex Murphy's face in silicone. That's pretty cool. Um, but you guys are collectors. I don't have a lot of masks sitting around, or I don't buy masks. I really don't. I don't even own a nag mask. I don't own any masks that are outside of the Trick or Treat Studio masks that I bought. Um, and I was planning on just doing overhauls and then selling the mask. But now the Trick or Treat Studio masks, they're coming to you and they look like crap. They're not. They're not. They're nothing like they were. Even the 2018 NEN's mask is coming in bad shape now. I don't know what they did, but they're just awful. They're bad. So the quality of latex is terrible. I will not buy another one of those masks. Now, if you buy one and you want one overhauled and you want me to repaint it and hair it or whatever, I'll do it for you. But I'm not a fan of the Trick or Treat Studios in the condition they're in now. I won't buy another one. There's no guarantee. Now, if I go into a store and I see one that's in really good shape, gives me all the details, and it doesn't look deformed, I would buy that mask. But I went into the stores this fall and couldn't find one mask that looked good. Okay, I've seen a few videos that look difficult. Hold on. Archives. I've seen a few videos. It looks difficult, but a heck of an achievement myself. Well, go for it then, man. Do it. Horror councils. I'm never telling anybody to deter anybody from doing anything, especially if you have a passion for it. But definitely try to tackle it. But I guarantee you're going to have to learn how to weld some. You're going to have to learn, the arts of welding, and that's an art in itself. Horror counselors, I haven't collected masks for a long time. I'm at the point in my life where I prefer making them than buying them. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, and I've always kind of been that way. I'm always like I'm the kind of person that likes to make things. I don't like to buy things. I've always been that way. I made my doors in my house. I've made, you know, I've made my furniture. I've made, you know, I've remodeled this house. Did most of the work myself. Did all the stoning, you know, stone walls that I have in here and everything. Um, and I'll show you the work. I'll show you some of the work in a few seconds here. And I'll take you off the camera here. We'll take a little tour into the house to show you the work that I've done. But I'm artistic, and I don't like sitting on my thumbs. I don't believe in it, but this thing looks good. It really does. It looks good. I'm happy with the sculpture. I can't wait to get this thing siliconed and in production. You guys that are getting a free mask, wait a minute, hold on, Slipknot. Horror counselors, I'm currently learning Japanese, and the number 4 was originally called Shi, but they changed it to Yan. She sounded too close to the word death. Wow, really? That's interesting. Let's see. Will gave the heebie-jeebies. Huh? There's something in the way. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. Bad juju. But it looks cool. Okay, I missed something here. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you're talking about the mask or the sculpture here, but I think we got this thing really, really nailed. I'm super happy. Super happy with this. Now it looks a little shiny because it still has to be textured from all the added work and smoothing out that I've done so far. And then handling. When you handle this, it kind of, when you touch it and you start wiping, you take the texture off, it makes it shiny. Further up in the chat, okay, I missed it. Don't have the 4th floor. Okay. All right. You guys are talking about something else. I'm not. Okay. And you did. You did the right thing at the horror counselors. I can't help but read. But I'm going to take you a little quick tour of the stuff that I do outside of, I mean, my woodworking and stuff. Oh my God. I'm sore. So let's take this off the stand here. And I'll show you, sorry for the floor shut, but I made this door out here, out of cedar. Let me turn the light on. Hallway light, please. I gotta zoom out. So I made this door here, it's on the rollers. It's for underneath the stairs. For underneath the stairs, I keep my water and stuff in there. But I made this door, and I'll show you from a distance. All right, come on now. Trying to get it to sit still. I have to figure that out. So there's the hallway. Oops, can't do it that way. That's the hallway door, and then I did this door over here I'm still working on to match it. I'm going to be doing all my doors inside the house, all cedar. All cedar doors. That goes into the studio we just left. I'm changing all these cheap doors here, and I'm going to get rid of these doors and make real hard, solid wood, very hard doors in and out. I'll show you the staircase. I did all this stuff here, this copper patina. I did all this with copper. Actually did the flooring, put all the cabinets in here, all hickory. A little messy in here right now. Okay, I did the staircase. I did all this banister. I did all this. I made all this myself. All right, all cedar and hickory. I did this wood chafed out right here. I did the stone work. Did all the stone work in here. I still have did all the stone work up in there. And it's also on the other side of the room. And then I did this. Once I did this and did all these step pieces here, and I put LED lights behind there. I did that to that wall up there. The whole wall's done like that in cedar. And that's upstairs. And I've got this. I still got to get the Christmas bulbs out of there. But we put the sconces on the wall, and that goes above the kitchen. And we're in the dining room right now, and it's a mess right now. We're trying to put everything, get all the spring stuff out and put all the winter stuff away. I did all this work in here, all this hickory. There's hickory and then there's cedar on the outside. I did the ceiling in here. It's all cedar, solid beams and cedar. All cedar scribed, hand scribed. And believe me, it was a lot of work. I scribed everything by hand in here, each board. Each board's probably 4 or 5 inches, no, about 4 inches wide. And they're tongue and slat. But like I said, I've been busy. I don't, there's so many things I've done, like my fireplace. I did all this, all the copper in here. Did the mantle, did the stone on the wall. They're my kids. They're grown now. They're 30 years old. Those pictures were done when they were little. Even made the frames for the kids. Made the frames, the wooden frames. So, yeah, I did all this. I might as well show you this. Yeah, doing wood up here. I did all the stone on this wall. Goes all the way around. Stone goes up. We're finishing out the wall with wood all the way around here. A lot of work. It's a 3,000 square foot home. I did all. And what I was going to do here is I'm actually going to sculpt a lighthouse scenery into here. And I'm going to plaster it in there. I'm actually going to I'm going to glue it into this frame here, into the copper patina. I patinaed that myself. That's real copper plate, and I patinaed it. And the secret to patina is alcohol. I'm sorry, not alcohol. Ammonia and salt. That's how you patina copper, to get that turquoise blue greenish look. And you have to have humid weather. You do that in the summertime with copper. But that's salt and ammonia. And you take that and you put the cups of ammonia inside. You wet it a little bit with ammonia and salt. You sprinkle the salt in the pattern that you want, however you want it to look on the thing, and then you sprinkle the salt on there. And then what you do is you put drops of ammonia on the salt, and then you got to cover it completely. So in high heat, with high heat, like natural outside high humidity will cause it to patina really beautiful. It's unbelievable how nice it all turned out. And you can see it like reflected. You can see how, like, you see the salt that's on there. And then once I had it all on there, then I put a lacquer coating. I did all the tile under here, glass tile, but it's copper background in the glass. Did this tile. This is a copper slate. This floor here, dirty right now, but that's all copper slate, very rugged. Yeah, done a lot of work. Now I still got to do the cabinet doors for here. In here, they're supposed to be pull-out drawers, and that's what I got my tracks for them. I just have to do the fine work. I'm getting too old. That's the problem. Running out of time because I'm getting old. So this door here, I got some more work to do to that. That's besides the point. But summer's coming now. I got time to do some things. But like I said, I do a lot of work. I don't do just, I'm not just sitting on my thumbs, that's for sure. Own a house, you got a lot of things that you have to do. All right, let me put this back on the stand. Put this back over here. As you can see, look at all the pictures I use to try and, nail this thing. This is all screen used masks I'm trying to use to get this thing nailed. Not easy. Not easy, but man, that looks pretty good. I think I've got it so close now. I don't think I need to do any more adjustments, to tell you the truth. So there you go. You got the little tour of the house. It's not so much of a little house. It's 2 stories. A pretty big backyard. Pretty big. I got 3/4 of an acre. And most of the stuff I did was all done by myself. I didn't really. I had my cousin. He helped me with the stonework. He actually taught me how to do the stonework. But I'm not one to not get my hands dirty. Show me how to do it, and I'll do it. So you have to. That's how you have to approach life, man. Don't be afraid of anything. You can make mistakes as long as it's not too costly. But you don't learn without making mistakes. You really don't. Yes, I saw it. He got his name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he should have been there years ago. Um, a fridge tour? No, you ain't gonna like my fridge, man, because I don't really have a lot of junk food. I don't do junk. I usually eat very healthy. Um, we eat very healthy. I've got grapes in there. Let me see what's in my refrigerator. Um, I made a chicken salad. That's in there. Some juices. My daughter loves juices and teas. She likes that pure leaf tea. So some pure leaf tea and some juices in there. What else is in there? Milk, but not kind of milk. It's what's that stuff? Lactose intolerant milk. We have some people in here that are lactose intolerant, so we drink that. And I don't really drink milk that very often anymore. I barely ever do. Um, I got my coffee, which I'll be making. Now I don't use almond milk too high in. Believe it or not, there's there's quite a bit of sugar in those almond milk and there's carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are pretty high. Wait a minute, no, what am I thinking of? Almond milk? No, it wasn't almond milk. What was it? Was it almond milk? I forget. I forget which milk it was. It was one of those milks. It was based off of nuts and oat milk. I'm sorry, it was oat milk. We don't even. I can't go near that. I'm diabetic. Almond milk may be okay. I've never tried it. I think I've had it, but not. Take it here and there, here and there. I'm just not a milk lover. I used to drink a lot of. When I could drink milk, it was vitamin D all the way, and I would have it with junk food, of course, or pizza, or spaghetti. Um, I don't eat like that anymore. Uh, yeah, I just like I said, this isn't about showing what I have. This is just showing you what you can do with your own 2 hands if you put your mind to it. A little bit of know-how. What's up, Asylum? What's happening, buddy? So we're there, man. This is it. We have a flashback. I just now have to smooth it out. That's all. I had to redo a lot of things. I had to constantly change. Just a lot of things weren't right. The angles mainly. If you watch this video from the beginning, you'll see exactly what my problems were. I don't feel like reaching that whole thing. Well, I mean, because it's an almond milk. It just depends on what kind of additives they add to any of this. Like all this stuff, all this processed stuff, man. It's just no good for you. That's the key word. I don't eat processed foods. Nothing out of a box. Everything is vegetable, meat, or fruit. You know, I got my grapes. I've got my, I don't do raisins. Raisins are just way too powerful, strength, sugar wise. But um, if you eat like that, if you eat just those three food groups in that form and stay away from anything processed or um, junk, because most of that stuff they add sugar to it. They add all this sugar and junk to it, and it's unbelievable. But I'll tell you something. Get off of horror counselors. If you're struggling with food, the key to success, believe it or not, is take sugar out of your diet, completely out of your diet. Within 2 weeks, you will lose cravings. You'll be amazed. You won't believe how much the sugar that's been added to the foods that really cause all your cravings. It causes you to crave everything all the time. Now, when you eat something with no sugar in your diet, even fruit, you can have fruit, it satisfies you. You're eating a piece of fruit and you're going, wow, okay, I don't want anything now. I'm really satisfied. It blows your mind. It absolutely blows your mind. But you're going to struggle for a couple weeks, getting off the sugar. It's because we're addicted to everything. Because they've put sugar in everything, even hot dogs. I've seen sugar in hot dogs. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You can't even have a hot dog with sugar without processed sugar in it. It's ridiculous. But that's exactly what causes most of our cravings is sugar. Um, See, back in the 70s, there was a big kick, fat, fat free, fat free, fat free. So what they did for flavoring, because they were trying to get away from the fats, is they discovered, well, we can put sugar in there to, we don't have to put the fat in there. We'll just put sugar in it. What they didn't realize was the sugar was addicting, and what basically happened was people could eat something and 15 minutes later want something else, and they're not really hungry. They're just eating because they're craving the damn sugar, and you don't even realize it. So until you're off of sugar, then you realize just how bad the sugar has been for you. Well, I don't look at food. I just look at food as a way to get to the next. To be able, if I look at it as fuel, look at it as fuel. You have to change your mindset to it. That's it. Oreo cookies and Pepsi and zeros, sugars, 7 Up. See, at zero crap, the artificial sugars are worse than. I'll tell you something. I'm diabetic. And coming from a diabetic, I'm going to tell you something. The artificial sugars shoot my sugar up higher than natural sugar, processed sugar, white sugar. The artificial sugars will shoot my sugar up higher than the natural sugar does. Now, if I eat fruit, as long as it isn't citrus, uh, berries, any kind of berries, any kind of other fruit, citrus fruits kind of shoot your sugar up. But here's how sugar works. All right, imagine you have a spike. All right, processed sugars make your sugars go straight up, straight down when they drink. Natural sugars is more like this. It's a steady flow. It doesn't ever spike your sugar. It just naturally kind of up and downs all day, but very very subtle, and that's the secret. Um, your sugar, if you spike your sugar, you're instantly, not only are you constantly starving because you're spiking your sugar constantly, it also can cause diabetes. Yeah, what's the old joke? I'm on a seafood diet. Whenever I see food, I eat it. Yeah, no, you don't want that. Yeah, stay away from high citrus fruits. I mean, you can still have, if you're not diabetic, you can have all the citrus you want. Still not going to spike your sugars that bad, not compared to processed foods. Um, yeah, so just instead of grabbing that Oreo cookie next time, grab an apple. Grab and don't. You're gonna suffer for a little bit for about 2 weeks. I guarantee it, for about 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, once the sugar leaves your system, all your cravings disappear. All your cravings disappear. Now every time you eat a meal, it actually absolutely satisfies you, and you're not reaching in the refrigerator or for some other junk because you're not craving it. You lose the Your cravings go away really quick. It's amazing when the sugar's out of your system. It's not something that stays with you for the rest of your life, like another habit, like alcohol, or uh, it's not the same thing. It's addictive if you're on it, but if you're off of it, you're not addicted. It's so weird. It just doesn't linger in your system like you constantly want it for the rest of your life. That's not the case. Once you get it out of your system, and you just start eating perfectly. Um, Stay away from processed foods. In other words, anything that's in a box, stay away from it. Don't eat anything out of a box. I have gone as far as even making my own pasta, fresh pasta, but I'm not supposed to have pasta, so it's a whole nother method. But anyway, processed foods are very but I'm diabetic. There's a difference. No, it's not good for you. Carnivore diet is not good for you. I don't care what anybody says. It's just not. You still have to eat balanced. You still need your carbohydrates, but you got to get the right carbohydrates, not the wrong ones. You don't want anything processed. Believe me, I go to a nutritionist. I've been going to a nutritionist for about 5 years, so I know how to. I know my body just does not want to shed weight. It doesn't want to do it no matter what I do. I've tried every diet. I've tried everything. I've I'm eating perfect now, and it still fights me on losing weight. Now, I was on Ozempic. That made me lose a ton of weight. I lost about 130 pounds, but then I leveled off, and now I'm not really losing anymore. I lose a little bit here and there. That's it. A couple pounds here, a couple pounds there over the course of 3 months. But I'm not losing a ton of weight anymore like I was. I was losing like 30 pounds every 2 weeks. I lost about 130 pounds in over a year's time, and then it leveled off, and now I'm like, okay, well, that's about as good as it's going to get. And even the doctor told me, he says, you'll level off at some point. Well, when you do, then you just have to start watching what you eat, and that's what I do. Watch what I eat, and it gives me the energy to do this stuff here. Just, I eat right, feel good. Remember, I'm 62. You guys are probably far younger than I am. So um, when you get older, man, you really have to put the right fuel in there, because if you don't put the right fuel in your body, man, you just don't want to do nothing. Lay around and sleep all day, bullshit. I'm just so anti that. I'm not a couch potato, never was, never will be. Um, but when you don't feel good, you don't feel good. You're a young guy. You're young. You're real young. And at 24, man, I was still out. Now I don't even want to talk about what I was doing. Let's not talk about that. Let's just say I wasn't an innocent dude, that's for sure. Um, by far. Anyway, I put a base on here because once I start making once I silicone this, it'll have a base on there, which will make it a lot nicer when I go to pour. Let me see. Hold on, carnivore. Let me see. You should try fasting. Fasting is something a diabetic can't do. Fasting because our sugar drops out of sight. Even if you're eating right, your sugar can drop out from underneath you, and you can black out big time, pass out. It's actually very dangerous for our kidneys and everything when you do that. When you're diabetic, there's just so many different rules. You can't do the things that you do when you're healthy. When you're healthy, you got the world by the balls. So when you become diabetic, and everybody's going to become one if they keep eating the junk food, trust me. The guy that's taken over, but I haven't heard nothing from him. He's supposed to be making our foods a lot healthier. Come on. Um, Bobby Kennedy. He's taken over and trying to, get our foods back to healthy, so our kids aren't eating a lot of junk. There's going to be some suffering there for a little bit, but they're going to end. He's going to try and get rid of all this dangerous processed foods and get rid of all this artificial flavorings and all this bullshit that they've been putting in our foods. Well, if you want a dream body, I mean, when you're 24, it's easy to. Look. I was a 32-inch waist. I was at 225. I had muscles on top of my muscles. I was playing semi-pro football, and I mean, I was ripped to the core. Uh, you wouldn't have believed it. Even at the age of 38, I was 38 years old, and I was still playing football. I wasn't playing semi-pro at that point, but I was 38, and I was playing in the flag league, but I was still strong as a rock. Then I developed an arrhythmia, and it screwed my whole body up. Everything got screwed up from that point on. That's the whole thing. I was an athlete ever since I was as far back as I can remember. I learned how to swim at 2 years old. Um, I've been a fish in water, out of water. I was a high diver, scuba diver. You name it, I've done it in the water. Water skied. I'm a water sports fanatic. Uh, I also loved football. I played some baseball, but I wasn't really into that much. Um, but I was an athlete. I was an athlete all my life, and I never did weightlifting just to gain muscle. I always gained muscle so I can play the sport that I was playing. It was never for looks. I never did that for looks. I always put strength. I was always into strength training, not so much body forming. But I was so strong. I mean, I'm just trying to, for instance, so my core. You ever get on one of the machines that you're sitting on it, and you lift it with your core. I can't remember what the hell. It's an ab machine. It's an ab machine. So you sit down on the bench, and there's weights behind you, and I get on this thing. This is back when I was in. Actually, I was still in good shape. My core's still strong now because of all the years of swimming and the injuries to my back. They said that I'm in constant. What do they call it? My muscles stay strength. My muscles stay uh, flexed. That's what's the right word. Flexed. They stay flexed because of the injuries in my back. If you push on my stomach core, even with the fat that's on the outside, you dig in, you can feel that muscle. Well, even in relaxed state, my core is still rock solid, and that's because of the injuries in my back. Doctor said to me, if it wasn't for my core being so strong, I would already be in a wheelchair. And that was from all the sports and all the activities and all the swimming and all those things I did when I was young. So, uh, like I said, take care of your body. You're young. Eat right. That's the key, man. Really eat perfect. Take care of your body with the proper foods. Um, Feed it right. Well, swimming. There was an island that's about 6 miles in diameter. All right. And it was called West Wildwood. And I lived over in the Wildwoods. And every morning I used to jump in that water and swim around that island, 6 mile run, not every morning. It was every third day, every 3 days. It was about every 3 days I would take that swim around that island, and I couldn't rent a pound of weight. I was so ripped. Um, Swimming works out every muscle in your body. Swimming is the best form of non-stress exercise you can do to your body. It will work out every muscle in your body, your core, your obliques, your. It even works your chest, your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, your forearms. It does everything. Your leg muscles, every inch of your leg, every your calves, your biceps, your shins. What the hell is that muscle called? I don't remember all the muscle groups anyway. Your ass cheeks, your obliques. It does everything. Um, Swimming is the best way to exercise. It really is. And I would always catch that tide going out. Did it on purpose, because if I didn't catch that tide going out, you 15 strokes forward, no matter how fast or how strong of a swimmer you were, be 15 strokes forward and 10 strokes back. You would never gain ground. You'd swim for an hour and you'd only go about 5 feet because the tide was so strong on the incoming tide coming in those back bays. So I always catch the tide going out. And when I came back in, by the time I got around to the other side of that island, about 3 mile swim, I would start getting that mid tide where the tide was changing, and tide's about every 6 hours. So it was peaking. And by the time I got right to where almost, my swim was about, let me see, how long did I swim for? About 3.5 hours to get around that island, maybe 4 hours, you know. But man, I had to stay hydrated. I used to I put a kidney bag on the back of me, on my back, and I kept water in it, because I would go for that long of a swim. And because you got to hydrate when you're burning them kind of calories, man, especially if you're thin already. Not wasn't skinny, but I was all muscle. So you burn through your water fast. So I kept a kidney bag attached to my back, and by the time I was done that swim, I drank that whole thing, and that kidney bag held about two gallons of water. 2 gallons of water. And when you're in the water, shit, I didn't have to worry about it. I just pissed. I didn't have to stop to pee. I just peed. I'm swimming and peeing, man, baby. That's it. And I always made sure the water stayed behind me as I was going forward. I wasn't swimming in my own pee. Anyway, that's funny. Anyway, yeah. I'm rattling on, baby. I'm rattling on here about stupid shit. Anyway, there's the sculpture. There we are. And we are very close to done here. All I have to do now is actually texture it. I have to put the texture in it, get it to where it's really on the line. I'm just so happy with the sculpture. Really am. Really happy with it. Well, there's sharks all around where I live, but you know what? There's a lot more to eat in the summertime. I never really had. I had a stingray come up underneath me once. That was a little scary. Um, I was swimming back to shore, and the stingray was curious about me. And I'm swimming back in, and I'm in about 4, maybe 5 feet of water, and the water was crystal clear. And all of a sudden, I see this huge black shadow go up underneath of me, and I'm like, I'm dead. I'm dead. It's a friggin' shark. That weren't my words, but that's what I was thinking. I'm dead. I'm a goner. I'm thinking it's a shark. But then I'm realizing, wait a minute, I'm only in 4 feet of water. There's no way there's that big of something that big. I mean, the shadow was further out than I can see. So I'm like, what the hell can that be? And I'm realizing, wait a minute, that's a stingray. So I went off to the right side, because if that stingray shoots up his tail at you, he can stab you. That's how, what's his name, died. The guy that did the crocodiles. Um, Stingray hit him in the heart, stabbed him in the heart. It scared. They're usually harmless creatures, but I'm swimming over it, and he's in shallow water, and he's swimming under me. And at some point, when that water gets shallower, 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 we're going to get closer together, and he's going to freak out and wham me with that tail. So I figured out what it was, and I dodged off to the side, and he kept going in the same direction. So, but he was curious about me, that's for sure. And I've had stingrays come up to me, and I can feed them. Like literally, if you're sitting in the water, they'll come right up on you on shore, and they'll actually, you can put some food in their food in your hand, and they'll eat it right out from underneath your hands. They don't have any teeth. So, yeah, well, I'm not. They're not fake stories. They're real things. How do you make that stuff up? You don't make stuff up like that. It's impossible. I've lived a lot. I've done a lot of things. I scuba dived. I was a scuba diver. You know, we were 200 miles off the coast here. I'm gonna say Atlantic City. We were a little bit further south than that. 200 miles off the coast, and I'm in 30 feet of water, and all of a sudden this black shadow goes over top of us. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell was that? We're thinking great white shark, we're thinking the worst. Of course, you're thinking anything with teeth. So it turns out it was a beluga whale. I don't know if you guys know what a beluga whale is, but it was a white whale. And they're friendly. They're like porpoises. They're like dolphins. They'll swim up to you. They swim with you. They're really, really beautiful whales. They're so gorgeous. Um, If you don't know what a beluga whale is, look them up, YouTube it, and when you see this animal, it's such a beautiful creature, such a beautiful, and it was so fun swimming with this thing. We swam with it for like 2 hours. It stayed with us. 2 hours. It just hung out with us. Like, humans, wow, interesting. Let me hang around with these guys a little bit. It was cool. It was really cool. And all of a sudden, he just disappeared, gone. And dolphins, they'll protect you. If there's any sharks in the area, all of a sudden a dolphin comes up along you, and he's panicking, and he starts circling you. You got a shark near you, and he's hunting you. So if you get in the water and a dolphin's circling you, but he's not really coming into you. He's actually circling you, trying to keep that shark away from you. And a dolphin will protect you, will protect humans. He'll go right after that shark. It's amazing, man. Dolphins are amazing. Porpoises, whales, as friendliest creatures on the planet. But they're also mammals. They know the difference. We're mammals. They'll protect their own. We are mammals. Whales, porpoises, dolphins, they're mammals. Yeah, beluga whale, that's a beautiful whale. Trust me, they're so beautiful. And to swim with one is just, it's just takes all your fear away. Nope, terrified. No, trust me, when you realize that the beluga just wants to hang out with you, and he kind of puts his belly up to you, and you're swimming belly to belly, it is so cool. So cool. And he puts his head up, and it's almost like the belugas started trying to snuggle with us. It was so neat. Such a really cool experience. Only happened once in my life. Our counselor, well, yeah, it's just phobic, is all that. You need to, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but I can tell you right now, you can get rid of that phobia if you learn how to scuba dive. Um, Scuba diving is very, very scary at first, because you're worried about the environment. It's the minute you start getting absorbed into the environment, your fear goes away. It's hard to explain. Um, all of a sudden you get fascinated. Ooh, what's that? And then you start swimming towards it. And all of a sudden you become part of the environment. It's hard to explain. You become part of the environment, and all of a sudden you're more fascinated, and all your fear disappears. Really curious. It's really cool. It's like going to the moon. It really is. You get down underneath that water, and you're free from having to worry about breathing from the surface, and you got those tanks on you, but you got to keep in mind, it's very dangerous what you're doing. It's a very dangerous sport. One little mistake and you're a dead man. All right, I got to get off of here, guys. I'm going to jump, but there it is. We are done. We just have to texture it. We have to smooth it out a little more, and then we have to texture it, and we've got ourselves a flashback that I am absolutely 1,000% satisfied with. Yep. But I'm talking a lot about me, and then just not really saying about me. This is about sculpting. This is about this, you know. But what I'm trying to show you is, don't take your life and waste it sitting on a couch. Don't waste your time, because when you get older, time becomes precious, and you start to realize you're running out of it. So if there's anything you want to accomplish, go after it right now. Do it now. Don't waste your time thinking about it. Go after your dreams. All right, guys, got to jump. I got some action going on over here. Don't know what's happening, but somebody's trying to get in something. But there it is, guys. I can't tell it that way. That is perfect profile. I'm a little too close. That's why it's distorted. If I get back further, it undistorts. Got to be at least 6 feet away. But that is the flashback. All right, guys. Peace. See you on the next video.